and welcome to Inside Outlook. I'm Jeff Havers, Superintendent of Pemberton Township Schools. Today we're going to share the 2026-2027 tentative budget, which was approved at the March 26th Board of Education meeting. With me today to present the tentative budget is our Business Administrator, Mrs. Laura Archer. Welcome.
Good morning. I am pleased to be here to present the 2026-2027 budget presentation. You can follow along as I go through that.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. I am here to present the tentative budget for the 2026-2027 school year. The final steps of the budget process include the budget calendar. The tentative budget is due to the county on March 27th, 2026. The earliest date for the public hearing is April 24th, 2026. The last day for a public hearing is May 7th of 2026. Pemberton Township's public hearing will be on April 30th, 2026. I'm now going to go through the estimated revenues for the 26-27 budget. Revenue factors and estimates. We're going to discuss the adequacy budget from the state aid notice, equalization aid, tax levy and local fair share, budgeted fund balance, banked cap and budget adjustments, and the revenue summary. Adequacy budget. For every school district in New Jersey, the state calculates what would be the necessary funding for an adequate education for the students of each district. This calculated amount is known as the adequacy budget. The 2026-27 adequacy budget in the state aid notice for Pemberton is $95,380,808. Equalization aid, the amount of funding the state contributes toward the adequacy budget. This figure is based on community property valuations, income levels, and the level of state funding determined through the annual budget process. Pemberton Township's equalization aid is $61,820,738. This amount goes towards the $95 million I just spoke about. Local fair share. How much a community is expected to contribute toward the adequacy budget. Compares equalized value and aggregate income, and these factors can change from year to year. Local fair share. The amount of property tax revenue a school district is expected to raise to fund the adequacy budget, which is the cost to provide an adequate education for their students. This amount is $33,560,070. District status above and below expected local tax levy. Our school district is currently below adequacy by $7,250,080. So again, adequacy is the amount the state determines is needed for an adequate education for our students. With the 26-27 budget, we are now only $512,796 below adequacy. Budgeted fund balance. Funds available from unexpended expenditures and unanticipated revenues. Fund balance can be used towards future budgets and/or increased reserve accounts, capital reserve, maintenance reserve, and emergency reserve. Banked cap. Money that we have a limited amount of time to use, typically a prior year adjustment that was not used. Adjustments and bank cap allow a district to go above the 2% tax levy cap. I'm now going to talk about the healthcare costs. The healthcare costs for Pemberton School District increased just under $6 million from the 25-26 school year. $4.3 million were generated in a healthcare cost adjustment. Again, the healthcare costs for Pemberton Township, we generated a $4.3 million adjustment. And we also have banked cap available that was generated in 24-25 of a little over $4.1 million. And we are using $1.9 million towards the 26-27 tax levy of $33,047,274. Some increases driving the tax levy. Again, the $5.9 million of state anticipated health benefit increase over the 25-26 school year. $1.7 million increase of SPED and regular out-of-district tuition increases over the 25-26 school year. $389,000 for utility increase over 25-26 school year, and $513,892 of transportation increases over the 25-26 school year. Tax levy. Pemberton Township homeowners on an average assessed home of $165,893 will see an increase of $709.10 for the year, which is approximately $59 per month. Pemberton Borough, with an average assessed home of $186,258, will see an average increase of $679 over the next year, with a monthly increase of $56.59. Capital projects in the budget. We currently have a little over $2 million of capital projects in the 26-27 budget. This includes the Newcomb Library HVAC, Pemberton Township High School first floor flooring, Stackhouse attic fire alarm, district exhaust fans, Brotherhood fire alarm, renovation of co-op building, and Helen Fort HVAC. Also within this budget is our preschool. The 26-27 preschool revenue budget is $8.2 million. The carryover of preschool education aid that we are using towards this budget is $968,611. Transfers from our operating budget for our special education population is $922,600. The total preschool budget is a little over $10 million. I also want to again reiterate that this year we are using $968,000 to help balance the preschool budget. This money will not be available for the 27-28 budget. Our revenue summary. Comparing 25-26 to 26-27, the fund balance, we see an increase of a little over $1 million that we are using to help balance our budget. The tax levy is the 26% of $6,819,279. And we also had a slight increase of our miscellaneous revenue of $172,017. The overall revenue in the general fund increased just under $8 million for $45,902,700. State and federal aid. Our state aid increased a little over $2 million from 25-26. Our semi revenue also increased slightly by $53,742, and we saw a slight decrease in our impact aid of $137,198. So overall, our state and federal aid increased a little over $2 million for $76,703,402. Special revenue. Our preschool aid increased a little over $1 million, and again, this includes the carryover aid of $968,000 that will not be available for 27-28 budget. Transfers to pre-K increased a little increase of $31,864. Title 1, 2, 3, and 4, we had an increase of $135,872. And IDEA, we see a slight decrease of just under $70,000. Other state and federal aid is down a little over $1 million, and this is due to waiting on legislation to confirm the amount of our future funding for our impact aid. So our revenue summary for our 26-27 budget, our local aid is $45,902,699. State and federal, $76,703,402. And our special revenue, $13,280,415, for a total budget of $135,886,516, which is a little over $10 million comparing the 25-26 budget. We did not just get our budget balance just by revenue alone. We also had some savings that we generated within the 26-27 school year. We are going out for an equipment loan, which is saving us $300,000. We also had staff restructuring and reductions of a little over $1.1 million. That includes 2 administrators, a business office staff, which is replaced with a full-time position with a part-time position, 4 elementary teacher positions, parent involvement specialist, 1 technology department staff member. We also had staff breakage of $580,276. And although this is not part of the 26-27 budget, we did receive $19,639,964 of federal funding for the Fort Dix renovation project. Again, this is being fully funded by federal dollars. If we had not received this funding, these renovations would be out of our general budget and also our capital reserve. Board action, we recommend the board approve the 26-27 tentative budget in the amount of $135,886,516 with a proposed tax levy of $33,047,274 for submission to the executive county superintendent.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Archer. We know that rising health insurance costs have been a significant factor in driving up costs in our district, as they have for many other school districts as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so the state health benefit, which is Pemberton Township is part of, the health benefit increases for the 26-27 budget have been astronomical. In past years, they have risen, but this year we saw a 29.7% increase just in the health benefits, and we saw a 57% increase in the prescription drug increases.
Yeah, so about 32% overall.
Correct.
And that's on top of last year, which was 14%, which is still very high.
It is.
Yeah.
And the trend seems to be that this will continue, that we should be anticipating a double-digit increase again for the 27-28 school year. And with the health benefits, the state health benefits, that starts January 1 of each year.
Right. Now, one of the components in our school budget is what is referred to as local fair share. Can you explain what that means and how it affects our budget in particular?
So local fair share is the amount that the state determines that the communities of Pemberton Township tax should go towards the budget. Our local fair share currently we are under adequacy by $7 million. So what that is saying is that the amount that the taxpayers are contributing towards the budget is not where it should be.
That's the adequacy budget, right?
Correct.
To provide an adequate education for all our children?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Archer.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We'll continue to advocate for fair school funding and greatly appreciate the support of our congressional representatives, including Senator Latham Tyver, Assemblywoman Andrea Katz, and Assemblyman Anthony Angelozzi. There still is time for our legislature to provide targeted categorical aid to school districts to address the health insurance crisis we are facing. If you'd like to see the budget presentation in person, everyone is invited to attend a public budget hearing, which will take place Thursday, April 30th at 6:30 p.m. in the Helen Fort Middle School Auditorium. That's our show for today. I look forward to seeing you next time on Inside Outlook.